you ever walked into a room and felt completely unseen? Or maybe you were alone, but you felt unready or unable to go after that thing that you've always wanted. What we often overlook is that we all have our own special magic about us. It's a light that shines from within. It radiates from our being, especially when we're at our most authentic, passionate, and true to our purpose. I'm a personal branding engineer, and I have been working in photography for a very long time. Photography is the art of capturing light. Through my photography, I've managed to capture the light that I see in others, even if they don't see it for themselves. I have been working with some of the biggest brands and people all over the world. And I've come up with a formula to allow people to see their own light, to own it, share it, and shine. Now you're probably thinking, okay, Sandy, what is this light you're talking about? Sounds a bit woo-woo, right? All right. Think of a time where you met someone and maybe you didn't notice them. You didn't see them, you didn't pay any attention. But then when you were talking to them and you got to know their story and what they're passionate about, they changed for you. Maybe later, you even described them as beautiful. Now think of a time where you saw someone strikingly gorgeous. You're like, oh my God, that person! And then you had a conversation with them and you realized that they weren't very nice. Their beauty dimmed, right? Later, you might actually have considered them to be the opposite of beautiful. What you were witness to was either their light or their darkness. We're witness to this light so many times. We see it when a little child experiences something new and giggles with glee. You see it when your best friend is describing an adventure they had and they are just gushing with joy and excitement. You see it in yourself when you are obsessing over a task or project, pouring your heart and soul into it to make sure that it's just perfect. Like your DNA, this light, this magic, is one of a kind. It's your personal legacy. It's unique, it's powerful, it's beautiful. When we own this magic, it distinguishes us. It propels our passion, and it gives us purpose. I have been blind to my own light for so many years. I actually had the opportunity to be on both sides of the lens, the camera lens, that is. When I began my career, I started out as a model, an actress. I was a spokesmodel. Eventually, I transitioned into web design and graphic design just to make ends meet. I had accumulated so many skill sets. I was a jack of all trades. And this was all because I failed to see my own light. I was fixated on feeling like I wasn't good enough. I was obsessed with trying to be the right person for other people. I judged myself. You see, we judge ourselves more harshly than we judge others. We carry the weight of the world on our shoulders. We obsess over things that aren't even worth obsessing over. You see, most of the people that I photograph, they look at themselves as not photogenic. And this is because they don't see their own light. When they see an image, they look at everything that's wrong with it and not what's right with it. You know what I'm talking about. I'm sure you've experienced it where you're in the bathroom and you're looking in the mirror and you're seeing everything that's wrong. How many of you have done that? The thing is, we miss the tiny little elements that make us unique and special. I did the same thing. I focused on the external, how other people saw me, who I had to be successful and liked by others, my accomplishments. You see, the camera focuses on things that are beautiful, and it can be very forgiving. With the right aperture adjustment, or the right focus, and especially the right pose, your pictures can be amazing. But when we look at them, when we point out all of the things that are wrong, we're missing our light. I have found that most of my clients who obsess over these things don't actually realize that the naked eye, us looking at them in person, we don't see these things, right? When you are at your most authentic and your light is shining and you're bright, all we see is that you're glorious and beautiful. All right, play with me for a moment. What is your favorite animal? Excellent. Think about that for a minute. What is your favorite animal? My favorite animal is a giraffe. If you can't think of it and you're like, oh, I got so many, just pick the first one that comes to mind. All right, everyone please say your favorite animal now. Some others are good. All right. What are 3 adjectives to describe this animal? Now, don't say like the panther is brown. Just come up with descriptive words that you think are unique to this animal. So for example, a giraffe to me is graceful, serene, protective. So what are your 3 words? Think of those right now.
Strong, relentless, and caring.
What is your animal? Right. How about you? Also. And how would you describe this animal? Any words? Just pick 2 more. Cute. Slow. Sleepy. All right. Well, these 2 koalas should hang out. They can help each other out. The thing is, those descriptive words are who you are, even if you don't see it. So she needs to go take a nap. During the photo sessions that I do with my subjects, I work to draw them out. I look for their inner animal, who they are. I allow them to tell me their stories, and I've heard some really powerful stories, from homelessness to imprisonment, to huge, astonishing successes, to tragic failures. I have heard it all. But the one thing that I find with all of the people that I photograph is their confidence. When we own our confidence, we are so powerful. Let me tell you about Leandre. When Leandre came to me, she didn't see her confidence. She didn't own her power. She actually said to me, I don't know what I'm doing here. I'm so old. And I went, how old are you? She was only 9 years older than me. I'm like, what? And she was looking for a job. She needed a portrait so she could get employment. She was a single mom, and her eldest child had cerebral palsy. She had worked hard as a mom, and she just needed to make ends meet. So once I got to know Leandre and hear her story, I realized that she was a beautiful, powerful woman. She just couldn't see it for herself. So I asked her, Leandre, when you first had your child and you learned that he had cerebral palsy, did you know what to do? She thought about it and she said, no, I didn't know what to do. I asked, did anyone help you figure it out? She's like, no. So I said, what did you do? She said, I had to figure it out. I then asked her if she thought she was a good mom. After a long pause, she said, I'm an amazing mom. What she didn't realize is she had to figure out how to be a mom with a child with a disability. That's one of the hardest things in the world. If she could figure that out, a job paled in comparison. I asked her to close her eyes and bring to the forefront of her mind the thought of how great of a mom she is, that she figured it out. When she did, this is the image that I captured. You see, when we own our magic, our power, we are unstoppable. When we deny this magic, this power, we struggle. I photograph the invisible, the things we overlook. So what is the alchemy to own this light, this magic, when you can't even see it for yourself? I'm going to give you 3 tools that you can use to find your own light. The first one is know your enemy. Who or what are they, and how can you fend them off? You see, my enemy was my fear of failure, that I wasn't good enough. So when I showed up to places, I pretended to be something that I wasn't because I was afraid that people were going to see me for who I was. I see this so often in the people that I work with. I'm going to give you another story. Let me tell you about Erin. When Erin came to me, she was this magnificent creature. She worked in the mental illness space by educating people in a hospital on how to deal with others with mental illness. She was knowledgeable and she was kind and compassionate. She was a little bit cheeky, which was great about her, but she was strong. She had also started a nonprofit to help erase the stigma of mental illness. But during our photo session, she was being overly bubbly and cutesy. She was like, oh. And it didn't resonate with the person that I had met. So I kept trying to work with her, and eventually she just broke down and started crying. And her words were, "Stop making me be so sexy. That's not me." I paused for a minute and I said, "Erin, I haven't asked you to be sexy. As a matter of fact, I've been asking you to stop smiling, come to your base. I've been trying to reset you." She eventually realized that her biggest enemy was a past idea of who she thought she had to present herself to the world as. She had been a cheerleader. She had to be bubbly, but that's not who she was anymore. When she realized this, it changed everything for her. So this is her being bubbly, and this is her being the advocate, the cheeky advocate that was deep inside. When we know who our enemy is, we can shine our light on them and we can face them full on. And most often, our enemy is ourselves. Tool number 2. This one is decide if you like yourself. Right? I want you to strip away all preconceived ideas of who you think you are and who you think you should be or where you should be. Just live in the moment now. Who are you now in this moment? And I want you to decide if you like that person. So, imagine you're walking down the street and you walk into someone and it's you, but you don't know it's you, but it's you. And you strike up a conversation with them and you're talking about what you're passionate about and the story of your life and the things you're going to do. Would you like that person? In other words, would you like yourself? How many here would say yes? All right. If you say yes, I want you to take that warm feeling of liking yourself and hold it inside and just revel in the awesomeness that is you. Now, how many here would say no? It's okay. Raise your hands. Don't be afraid. I didn't like myself for the longest time either. If that's the case, I want you to find something about yourself that you do like. Stop worrying about the things that you don't like. Cast that aside. Don't worry about where you're supposed to be or what you should accomplish. And if you can't find anything, ask a friend or family to help you. When you like yourself, It allows you to shine at your brightest because you'll never make the wrong choice. You'll always make choices based off of whether you like yourself or not. The last tool I want to give you is remember your gifts. That's a big one. Think of what's special about you. Maybe what's special about you is that you can find that perfect parking spot when there's no parking, but it's like, it's gonna be there. Maybe you can make your friend giggle when she's having a dark moment. Maybe you're a mathematical wizard or a brilliant artist. Or maybe you're the person who can bring a group together and make them smile at a single thought. Whatever it is that's your gift, own it and share it. Let it shine to the world. Because when you allow your light to shine its brightest, you can create impactful change. If you withhold your light and you don't share it with the world, you could be missing the opportunity to help someone who really, really needs to see it. You might just save their life. The real secret is that your beauty, your light, it's always been in you. It's just time for you to see it for yourself.